Hey guys, what's up? It's just for MLB Baseball Blogs. I'm here with two special guests from the Cash Kelly and AC Sports Report. Guys, say what's up.
What's going on? What's up, man?
Alright, we got a couple questions I have to ask you about this upcoming season. So let's start off with your guys' favorite team, the Philadelphia Phillies. Who will have a better season, Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, or Roy Oswalt?
I think it's going to be Halladay. I still think he's easily the best pitcher out of those three. And I actually think Oswalt will have a better season than Lee. Oswalt's in a contract year, and Lee has not looked too solid in spring training. I think they'll all win above 15 games easily.
Yeah, I agree with that pretty much. Halladay's, the reigning Cy Young. He is one of the best in the game. Lee's a good pitcher, but I think Oswalt will win more games just because he's in a contract year, like Tim said. But everything else I pretty much agree with.
Yeah. So would you guys think that Cole Hamels will be better than Roy Oswalt, or just to throw Hamels into the mix?
Yeah, I think talent-wise he probably will be. I don't know if he'll win quite as many games because he throws more pitches and stuff like that. But I think Cole Hamels is still only like 27 years old. He still has a talent at some point to win a Cy Young or do something like that.
Yeah, Hamels winning a Cy Young in the future is definitely not out of the question. He's just not completely fully developed yet, but he definitely could have an Oswalt-like career.
Yeah, I mean, and Cole Hamels could win 20 games this year. I've heard that. It's not out of the question. That might be a bit too early now, but you never know.
Yeah. So how many wins would you think that Lee and Halladay will win this year?
I think they'll all win. I think Halladay will win about 19 to 20 games. I think Oswalt will win about 17. Lee will win about 16. Hamels will win 14 or 15 probably.
No.
Yeah, that's pretty much in the ballpark of what they always do. Hamels doesn't win as many games just because he doesn't get the run support that the other three do get. So that's the only reason.
Yeah. Our question number 2 is, you guys know what's going on with the Chase Utley incident. Do you think that Placido Polanco will go to second base and put Wilson Valdez at third?
I have no idea really. I mean, Chase Utley's got a knee problem. I'm hearing from certain people he'll be fine. I'm hearing certain things that he's going to be out for the season and his career could be in question. If Utley is out for the season, I would expect that they'll keep Polanco at third and put Valdez at second. Why? I have no idea, because I think Valdez probably better third baseman, but I guess Polanco can't play second anymore, or is not as good. I'm not really sure. I mean, I think even if Utley were to go out, they're still a contender, but they lose a lot of credibility if Utley goes out.
Yeah, they do. They lose one of their big-name franchise players with Utley, but I just can't see him being out for the entire season. Maybe 2 or 3 months, but I can't see him being out for the entire season.
Yeah, and I mean, that might be good for him. He was pretty lousy coming back last season from the injury, so maybe missing some extra time will get him healthy, and he'll be ready to go midway through the season or something. He may play the whole season and be fine.
I really hope he just gives himself enough time to regain his health, because 9 times out of 10, he doesn't do that.
No, and that's probably why he's in this situation in the first place.
He always rushes back, and but going back to the Polanco thing, I've heard from some people that Polanco might be injured a little bit.
Well, he's always got some. Polanco will be fine. Polanco will play 130-some games. He can play third or second. He's a nice contact hitter. He'll be fine, I think.
He did pretty good today against the Orioles. I saw the game earlier today. He did pretty good today against the Orioles, I heard.
Yeah.
So I think he's just still fit at third base, but I think they should put Wilson Valdez back at second base because he's the backup for Utley. So do you think that'll be a good fit for Valdez?
Yeah, there's a couple other guys that are possible. They got Pete Orr, Josh Barfield, and they got a couple other guys in camp. And obviously, they have the possibility of going and signing someone or trading for someone.
Yeah, Valdez is really an actual backup, like a shortstop, but he really can play anywhere in the infield that he would please.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. For question number 3. Okay, so Jose Bautista was the breakout star pretty much in baseball last year. Do you think you'll have him hitting 40 home runs or 50 home runs again?
I can see 40. He's not going to hit 50. Hitting 50 is probably a once-in-a-career thing for most guys. Ryan Howard hit 58. He ends up averaging throughout his career, probably about 43 home runs. Prince Fielder hit 50 one year. He ends up averaging somewhere in the 30s. Batista hit 54, I think, last season. I think he'll hit about 35, maybe 40 home runs this season. This is a guy who just goes up there trying to hit a home run basically every time, and he's pretty good at it.
Yeah, he's done a pretty good job of that, especially last season. But I don't think he could hit 50 this year. I don't think 40 is out of the question, though. I think it's probably going to be closer to 40 than 30. Like you said, this isn't a guy who hits for base hits or an average at that. He just goes up there trying to hack the ball out of the park. And, you know, if he can do that, good for him. He's got that going for him, and it energizes the team, and it gives the fans something to watch up there in Toronto.
Yeah. I actually have him hitting at least maybe 35 or maybe 36 home runs this season. I mean, he's not going to hit
I think
40.
I think it'll be on the upper half of the 30s.
Yeah. So, we had 3 more questions left. You guys heard about Luis Castillo, who's going to be making $6 million this year. He said he's going to go home and wait for a team to call him. He was released by the Mets yesterday afternoon. What team will sign him? I heard 3 teams were actually interested: the Phillies, Cubs, and Marlins. Who will actually go for him?
I think the Cubs will. The Marlins, he's already played for them, and the Marlins are a young team. Bringing him in just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me with Infante already playing there. Looking at the Phillies, it's not a Phillies-like move. Phillies aren't normally these small free agents that are bigger names. They're usually a trade or just pick a guy up that's a career minor leaguer type move. Luis Castillo just doesn't seem like it. And it seems like a panic move that would be admitting Utley is kind of done for the season, and I don't think they're going to do that. I think it could be a problem if Utley comes back and Castillo isn't a starter. Castillo's going to go where he can be a starter. That might be the Cubs. That might be somewhere else.
Yeah, some team could really come out of nowhere. We've seen that happen quite a few times this offseason. So, I mean, that Cubs or Phillies or Marlins thing is not even a definite. But I could definitely see the Cubs picking him up. I'm going to be honest here. I have no idea who they have at second base. But
they have Blake DeWitt at second base. He's a good prospect, but he hasn't really gotten too much of a chance.
Yeah.
He was with the Dodgers before.
I don't see him going to the Marlins, and I really don't see him going to the Phillies. He's not a Philly mold player. I mean, it's not characteristic of them.
He seems like the type of guy who's a bit of an ego, and the Phillies don't have too many of those.
No.
Yeah. I just really don't see him going to the Marlins because of Omar Infante. I mean, he's a pretty good second baseman. He's going to be taking over Dan Uggla's spot, so pretty much Marlins is pretty much out of the question. So I really see him going to the Cubs and outbeating Blake DeWitt for the starting second baseman job. All right.
That would make no sense.
That would make no sense.
That would make the most sense, I said.
Oh, sorry. Number 5 question. You guys, the Phillies have signed like a big name players. They got Cliff Lee. Boston also had Carl Crawford, and they got Adrian Gonzalez. Pretty much people are saying that they're going to be the World Series this year. Who would win the World Series in your guys' prediction? Phillies or the Red Sox? If that's going to happen.
Jeez. That's a long time away. I hate to say that, but right now I gotta go with the Red Sox. I mean, I'm a huge Phillies fan, but the Red Sox have more depth. I know the Phillies have the better rotation, if that happened per se. But the Phillies lineup to me just isn't nearly as good as the Red Sox. The Red Sox have more depth with guys like Pedroia, Crawford, Ellsbury, Youkilis, and Adrian Gonzalez and Jared Saltalamacchia. You know, the Phillies lineup has a bunch of big names, but you're not really sure. I mean, Howard, in my opinion, will come back and do well. I'm not quite sure about Jimmy Rollins. Who knows with Chase Utley? Polanco's not Kevin Youkilis. Raul Ibanez is 95 years old in left field. Victorino on an off year last season, and right field's a huge question. For the Red Sox, though, I think the thing that sets them apart is I think their starting pitching is extremely underrated. Clay Buchholz won about 18 games last season. John Lester could win a Cy Young. And the Red Sox bullpen is stacked. With Papelbon, Bobby Jenks, I can't think, Daniel Bard, he throws hard. I mean, one of those guys will end up being the closer, and they have Okajima, they have a bunch of depth. That's what the Phillies players, pitching-wise, they look better at the sexy positions, but the Red Sox have more of those role players, the way the Phillies and the Giants were last season.
Yeah, definitely. Because I no doubt, because you look up and down the lineup of both teams, and the Red Sox are just they're clearly better right now.
There are other teams that could come out. I mean, the Yankees, if they had a legit pitcher, could be back in the mix. In the NL, or they also got the White Sox in the AL, potentially the Rangers if they can add some pitching depth. And the NL, you got teams like the Reds, the Giants, the Brewers, the Cardinals, if they can survive without Wainwright, the Braves. So I mean, it's not a done deal. I mean, everyone predicted last year it was for sure going to be Phillies, Yankees, and two teams came out of nowhere and ended up in the World Series.
Yeah, we've seen what can happen with that. I mean, no one's going to match the Phillies rotation. It's just the starting rotation is just stacked, but the bullpen's even a question.
But I mean, as you saw last season, the Giants didn't have the better talent in the starting rotation, but they came out 3 games and pitched better, and they won the thing and ended up winning the World Series.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Do you think the Yankees can make a push for second? Because pretty much everybody's saying that the Red Sox are going to win first place in the East. Do you think who will be in second, the Rays or the Yankees?
I don't know. I think the Rays are going to be in last place. I think they are a mess this season. There's too many questions.
They lost so many good players. I mean,
yeah, I actually think the Blue Jays are going to be in third, and the Orioles are going to be in fourth. For the Yankees, there's a lot of questions with them as well. Jeter had an off year. A-Rod's getting into his mid-30s, pushing the later end of his 30s. Not quite there, but CC is in a potential contract year if he decides to opt out, and I think he probably will. Teixeira had an off year last season. Granderson couldn't stay healthy. I think most of those questions will go in a positive way. I think Teixeira will have a better year. Granderson will be an MVP type player. Cano obviously had an MVP season. I don't think he'll quite do what he did last year, but he's close. Everyone's waiting for Rivera to break down. I don't think he will, but if they do, they got Rafael Soriano there. I think the Yankees are probably the third best team in the AL.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the Yankees winning the wild card as well.
Yeah, me too.
Because they're just
you can hitch your way to the playoffs.
Yeah.
The fact that you don't have pitching is going to kill you in the playoffs. So
yeah, you need pitching in the playoffs, not so much in the regular season, as long as you have guys like Teixeira, A-Rod, Jeter, all those guys. You know, so they always seem to be in the mix.
Yeah.
No matter.
All right. So the last question is, who is your breakout team in 2011? I actually have the Florida Marlins going as their breakout team. My second was going to be the Diamondbacks because they are already in the rebuilding phase. They got Henry Blanco and guys like that, but they're not going to go anywhere. So what are your guys' breakout team this year?
I got two. One is the Chicago White Sox. They finished in second place last season. I think having Jake Peavy healthy for a full year, and Kenny Williams has shown he can go out and get guys at the deadline. Having him, adding a big bat like Adam Dunn to that lineup, what they missed the whole last season was a huge left-handed bat. It doesn't get too much better power hitting-wise than Adam Dunn. My team in the NL would be the Brewers. I know Greinke's hurt now, and Markham is hurt now, but if those questions can be worked out, Prince Fielder's in a contract here. I think he will have a monster year with MVP. Ryan Braun is due for a much better season. They got a new manager in Ron Rooney. I think the Brewers could, if the Phillies falter, win the NL.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was going to say the Brewers as well. Greinke, I'm not too concerned about Greinke. He's only going to miss like 2 or 3 starts, so not too concerned right there.
And I mean, that whole division already isn't looking too healthy.
No, it really isn't, with the whole Cardinals team going down, whatever else. But yeah, I think the Brewers, if anything, will be my breakout team, just basically for the reasons that Tim said. Prince Fielder could be an MVP caliber guy. Ryan Braun's always good, and they got some serious damage that they could do.
Yeah, and they got a new third baseman. His name slips my mind right now, but he's supposed to be a great player.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you so much for your time, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, thanks.
Later.